Did you mistakenly file for Social Security and you want a do-over? Well, you have the opportunity to do that for sure in two different ways. And here we're going to do a quick one to show you what you need to do. So welcome to Heritage Wealth Planning YouTube channel, my friends, the place you come to learn all about Social Security strategies and what you can do if you said, I want to redo this, because you still can, even though you might have heard that you can't, and you absolutely can. So let's dive right into this and talk about that. All right. So a couple of things. I had a lady call me up the other day from California, and her husband took Social Security at 67, I think, and she's 61, and she's wanting to retire and because she wants to be with him. And I said, first thing, don't let him get up on a roof, please, 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 please. I think I've had 3 ladies in my career who've lost their husbands from falling off a roof falling off the ladder when climbing up to trying to get on the roof. So don't do that. And I almost killed myself. Literally, I almost killed myself when we lived in New Jersey. I was crawling up to a de-ice, or was I just cleaning out the gutters? And man, I fell, and I hit on we had this tile a porch, and I fell, but like literally, I don't know, about that 2 inches away from me had this just, a place to plant flowers, and this little bowl thing. I'm drawing the blank for the word. Is a porcelain bowl of some sort, not a bowl, but it's like big, and we had this big flower in there. And man, I missed that by about that much on hitting on my head. And I mean, I was knocked out, and I mean, I got up, but man, if I was literally 2 inches over, I would have cracked me. I'd probably be dead. So whatever you do, don't have your man get up on a ladder. I'm just telling you right now, I've had people lose their husbands because of that, and it almost happened to me. So, why did I say? Oh yeah. So anyway, okay, well, you got to retire because you're younger than him, and he's 67, you're 61, and you want to hang out with him. I get all that. So let's make sure you do it. But the problem is she's not going to take Social Security until she's 62 at the earliest. So she's going to need some money. And now he's already on Social Security. So where's the money going to come from? Well, she has a small pension, but the other amount is going to come from her IRA and his 401k and whatnot. So the premise is, and she said, what do you think? Should I know we can't repay Social Security. So is there any strategies? And you can, absolutely, you can. As long as it's been in the first year, you can withdraw your application. And I'll show you here what we want to do right here with a Social Security places to do that. You absolutely can do it. So there's 2 things going on here. And I've talked about this before, but I want to talk about it again because it's important. You can withdraw it. And that simply means you give the money back. If it's within the last 12 months of when you file for Social Security, you give the money back. All right. No interest, no taxes, nothing. You just give it back to them and you're good. And then you basically, as if it never happened, like those Stanley Steamer commercials. Is a Stanley Steamer as if it never occurred, where they're fixing up you have a leak in your roof or something like that. I don't remember. But anyway, as if it never happened. That's what it would be to withdraw your application. The part 2 of this, you can suspend your application. So suspend means you're not going to pay the money back. You just don't want to receive it anymore, and then you'll come back and get it later on. And that's just as good, except other than the fact that you lost that 1 year. So in this case, the guy filed at 66, I guess. He'll have taken it till he's 67. Now, if he didn't withdraw but actually suspended it, he won't have to pay that money back. But he'll lose that year for the 8% delayed earnings credit. So that may or may not be worth it to spend versus withdraw. In this case, they're going to withdraw because they want to act like it never happened to get another year of delayed earnings credits. But those are 2 options. Suspend, it doesn't matter. You can suspend it any time you want and just say, don't pay me anymore. And then the Social Security will start giving those delayed earnings credits. But you won't get them back for the years that you've taken out already. Withdrawal, you can only do it up to the first 12 months, and then Social Security says, give us the money back. So let's talk about this. If you change your mind, this is from socialsecurity.gov/planner/retire/withdrawal.html. I'll put a link in the show notes. If you change your mind, unexpected changes may occur after you make your decision about when to take your Social Security benefits. If you are receiving benefits and you change your mind about when they should start, you may be able to withdraw your claim and reapply at a future date. However, if you change your mind 12 months or more after you become entitled, you cannot withdraw your application. You're limited to 1 withdrawal per lifetime. So just remember, a withdrawal is not the same thing as a suspension. Withdrawal is just saying, I'm going to pay my money back. If you change your mind 12 months or more, after you filed, you can't repay the money back. Before you make your decision, there are some things you need to know about what will happen if you withdraw your application. You must repay all the benefits, my friends. You got to pay them all back. And you and your family receive based on your retirement application. The benefits must include any benefits your spouse or children received based on your application. So spousal benefits. So you got to remember that spousal benefits are part of that. If you withdraw your benefits, you only get a spousal benefit if your spouse is taking benefits. So if you're getting a spousal benefit because your spouse is taking benefits and your spouse withdraws his account, you got to pay the spousal ones back too. You can't. It's not a file suspend like we used to be able to do in the old days. Anyone who received benefits based on your application must also consent. All right. So actually, I don't know if you have to. You don't have to do it if you're divorcee, because as long as you've been divorced more than 2 years. So divorcees, you don't need to worry about this. It's solely for spouses and children. Actually, they both have to consent if you're going to withdraw your application. If you're divorcee, it's been, as long as the divorce has been over 2 years, it has nothing to do with. You can take your spousal benefits as a divorcee as long as the divorce has been over 2 years without the other spouse having to file. So it won't matter there. Money withheld from your checks include Medicare Part B, Part C, and Part D. All right, so Part B, again, Part A is free. Part B is your physician services. Part C is your Medicare Advantage. And Part D is your prescription drugs. So if you had any money held out for that, you're going to have to, that will be part of the money that you're going to have to come up with in order to pay the money back or to at least pay your premiums. Voluntary tax withholding of federal income taxes for closed tax years, garnishments. Now right here is important. This is what this lady and I would talk about. If you're already entitled to Medicare, you may also choose to withdraw your Medicare coverage. You don't have to. And it says if you withdraw your Medicare coverage, if you withdraw your Medicare Part A, you must repay all Medicare Part A benefits paid on your behalf. If you draw the Medicare Part B coverage you already have, your request will be treated as a voluntary termination, and you'll have Part B coverage for the month you requested, but not after that. And the month after your request. So you have Part B coverage for the month you requested withdrawal and the month after that, excuse me. If you file for benefits and Medicare again later, your Part B premiums may be higher due to your later enrollment. I cannot stress this enough. So I'm just telling you right now, if you withdraw your Social Security and you're withdrawing your Medicare Part B too, you might want to think twice about that. So then the question is, well, how do we get paid? How do I pay the Medicare Part B if I'm not taking Social Security? So we'll talk about that down here. See, because it talks about that. Hold on, just right here. If you already have Medicare, your request must also clearly state whether your Medicare coverage should or should not be included in the withdrawal. All right, so but keep going down here. If you want to keep your benefits and just terminate your Medicare Part B coverage, you cannot use this form I'm going to share with you. But there's something else in here too. Let's see. Oh, right here, if you keep your Medicare coverage. Okay. All right, so let's just say you want to keep your coverage, which Part B, and most likely you should. You will be billed by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, the CMS. All right, so what's going to happen is if you keep your Medicare coverage, your Part A and Part B, and again, most likely you will be billed directly, so you don't have to do anything. However, if you don't pay the premiums timely, you may lose your Part B Medicare coverage. You will have the option of automatically paying the bill from an account at your bank or financial institution. All right. If you're not entitled to Medicare, you will not be automatically enrolled when you turn 65. So make sure you enroll in at least Part A when you turn 65, for the love of me. If you have credible coverage from your employer or from your spouse's employer, you probably don't need to do that. But I'm telling you right now, for Part A, because it's free, it's going to be awful hard to see how a spouse or an employer would say, yeah, go ahead and stay on our plan, when you can go on your own Medicare Part A, at least, if not Part B. So just keep that in mind. Once you hit 65 or about to, you're probably going to be looking at enrolling for Part A, regardless of your taking Social Security. And even if you don't need Part B, you're certainly going to want to be in the system. Most likely, I'll leave that up to you to figure out, and hiring a broker to help you with all that. Let's see, because they're not going to, if you're not taking Social Security at 65, you're not going to be automatically enrolled in Medicare. If you don't qualify for a credible coverage from another source, you will get penalized for the rest of your life for every year that you neglected to sign up for Medicare. And it's not cheap. I mean, it's a big penalty to encourage you to sign up for Medicare. Be sure to contact Social Security about 3 months before you turn 65 to check about applying for Medicare. Failure to apply for Medicare when you are 65 can result in a higher premium. Absolutely. If you're entitled to railroad or veterans benefits, you should check with a railroad board or the VA separately about how those withdrawal will affect those benefits. and they'll make their own determinations. All right. So how to withdraw your application? You file a form SSA 521 and include the reasons why you want to withdraw. If you already have Medicare, and we are talking about, if you already have Medicare, your request must clearly state whether your Medicare coverage should or should not be included in the withdrawal. All right. So we talked about information for TRICARE beneficiaries. So remember, TRICARE is for military employees, retirees. Once you hit 65, you go on Medicare Part A and Part B, and then you go to TRICARE for Life, which is your Medigap or Medicare supplement, and you don't need a Part D. But if your withdrawal includes your Medicare Part A coverage, you may lose your TRICARE coverage as well. If you not withdraw your Medicare Part A coverage, you need to stay enrolled in Medicare Part B to keep your TRICARE. So I don't know any reason why you didn't not have Part A, Frank. It doesn't cost anything. Part B maybe, but again, Part B, the premium's $134 a month, and I just don't know. It's not worth it for the huge penalties to hope Part B doesn't change. It just is not. So, or that you have it through credible coverage through another employer plan or something like that. If worst case scenario, stay on Part A, but certainly think about Part B as well. So that's how you do it. You fill out this form 55 SSA 521 to withdraw your application. You click on this form here, and let's see what it looks like. It's a PDF. And again, I'll put this in the link to the show notes. I think this should be used more often, frankly. It's giving me a hard time, but there we go. Simply because I think it's worth it to get those 8% a year delayed earnings credits for sure. So you can see it's a 2-pager, man. Not that difficult. Here's your reason why you're doing it, and you're doing it because you want to take the extra benefits. I don't know what the reasons you'd want to do it are, but in the lady's case we're talking about, she wants to take the extra benefits or take the delayed benefits so they can start pulling money out of their 401k and IRA, which won't be affected if taxes on Social Security. It's a wonderful strategy, and it's almost a slam dunk. So think about doing that yourself. As always, if you have questions, thoughts, or comments, put them down here in the show notes. Thumbs up always help me. Don't forget to go to the blog at heritagewealthplanning.com, and we'll see you next time. Thanks. And don't forget to subscribe. Thanks, guys.